All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to our next state in swing state analysis. And we're going to be talking about New Hampshire today. And New Hampshire was, in terms of raw vote total, the closest state in 2016. In terms of percentage, it wasn't. Minnesota was closer. Well, so was Sorry. In terms of percentage, Michigan was closer. My mistake. New Hampshire was, in terms of raw votes, the closest, though. It was like 2,000. Michigan was 12,000. But in terms of percentages, because there was a lot more votes in Michigan, Michigan was closer in terms of percent. Now, New Hampshire is a swing state, of course. I think anyone would be crazy to say otherwise. The governor of New Hampshire, Sununu, has endorsed Donald Trump and will be helping Donald Trump in his campaign. At least that's what I've gathered. And we'll see whether or not that tanks Sununu's popularity or boosts Donald Trump's chances in this state. I'm not entirely sure. Also, a lot of these New England towns don't really, or a lot of these New England states don't really vote by county, but instead by township. So New Hampshire has like 500 some odd townships. It's insane, but New Hampshire has more seats in their state legislature than the entire United States Congress does, than the House of Representatives does. It's ridiculous. The other thing about New Hampshire is that it's one of the few states in that area that Republicans have been able to at least make an attempt to win since the 90s. And with Donald Trump actually winning Maine's 2nd congressional district, I think a lot of people, myself included, expected if Maine's 2nd congressional district goes Republican, New Hampshire almost certainly will. And of course, we were wrong. But using the logic at the time, it's not hard to understand why that was the case. But now it's a little bit different. Now that information on how the states vote in this new era or this emerging new party system are voting, I think it's very important to update knowledge based off of what is happening. If you look at my model, for example, the current polling average that I'm showing, or the current margin nationally is expected to be 11 points in favor of Joe Biden, and yet there's quite a few states that are extremely competitive. Or not extremely, but that are competitive, that Biden absolutely has to win. And I've come to the conclusion that Biden needs to win the popular vote nationally by around 5% in order to win the presidential election, which is significantly wider than what Clinton would have needed. She only needed to win by about 3.5%. Winning 5% by 5% nationally shouldn't be too difficult for Biden if things continue the way they are. But 6% to that 5, but 11% to 5%, that's 6% difference. You'd only need, and that's within the margin of error. So, yes, this election is still technically within the margin of error. Anybody be saying, well, wait, what? This is because, again, the United States uses the Electoral College, and if Biden wins by 5% and Donald Trump still wins the Electoral College, a lot of Democrats are going to say this is why we need to get rid of the Electoral College. I've defended the Electoral College numerous times on this channel. I have explained why the system is, in principle, a good idea because it separates power and is a reflection of the system of government that the founders chose a federal republic where power is divided between the states, the national government, and the people. And it ensures the most unobjectionable candidate wins in theory. Donald Trump kind of threw a spanner in the works. Same thing with Andrew Jackson, believe it or not. He kind of was not exactly the most unobjectionable candidate. But in general, you're going to get presidents who are, at least in theory, able to attract support from a much broader coalition of people. Because no one state, no one region has enough has enough electoral votes to swing an entire election. So you need to appeal to New Englanders, to New Hampshireans, whatever people from New Hampshire call themselves, to people from the South, like North Carolina, Georgia. You need to appeal to Floridians. You need to appeal to people in the desert Southwest. You need to appeal to Midwesterners. You need to appeal to Texans. You have to have broad appeal across many different cultures, across many different regions, to many different socioeconomic backgrounds. And it's, whereas with a direct popular vote, all you have to do is pander to the urban and urban-like suburbs. Now, I'm not saying that we should be using the metro area, because there are a lot of areas that are considered in a metro area that are just not urban at all. But people complain about a tyranny of the minority in terms of political opinion when they argue for a direct popular vote. However, a tyranny of the majority is significantly more dangerous because they cannot be outvoted. If a minority power or political opinion or niche gets into power, the theory goes that because they want to keep power, they will self-moderate. Whether or not this is true, I'll leave that to debate. But in a Republican or Democratic system, or a federal republic like we have in the United States, it seems to be the case most of the time. That said, at least we did get rid of unanimous consent for a leader. So, or any tax law or anything like that, because requiring unanimous consent for most things is a bit silly. But back to New Hampshire, it's a really interesting state because while you do have Manchester and Nassau County, I think it is called. I think that's how you say it. And Concord, the capital. Most of the rest of the state is reasonably exurban or rural. similar to most of Maine in terms of geographic area. But at the same time, the state's politics are kind of pulled towards the Democrats by Massachusetts and to an extent Vermont. Vermont is a really interesting state, and unfortunately, it's not a swing state, so I can't really talk about it too much. But Vermont's politics are actually pretty interesting, so maybe I'll find some time to talk about that. Actually, a lot of these New England states are kind of interesting because they seem to have no problem electing Republican governors, yet for quite some time now, at least the past decade, the majority of their congressional and Senate support has been heavily Democratic. But that's a discussion for another time and another day. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See y'all next time. Likes, comments, subscriptions always do help. And like every week now, I am going to be live streaming something history related tomorrow night at around 9 or 10 p.m. So hope to see you then. And links are in the description. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope you have a nice day. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.